Hello, and welcome to the March 12th, 2021 update episode of the Brain Cancer Podcast. Now, normally I use these update episodes just to go over my day at the hospital, and in this case, give the results of my MRI, and just kind of a general recap of the day. In this episode, though, I want to do a recap of the general week that I've had. I know I haven't been on social media or Facebook or anything else really that much for the past week, and it's just because I've had a lot of other things going on, and my focus has just been sort of all over the place, if that's a good way to describe it. So if we start with my day at the hospital, which actually began on Wednesday, which was 2 days ago. I had my MRI, as usual, over in Chelsea, and that went very well. After I left there, I was able to stop at the Boston Public Market to pick up a whole bunch of fresh fruits and veggies and splurge on my 2 vegan cinnamon sugar donuts, which is something I always look forward to after my scans. And I came home with a whole bunch of fresh fruits and veggies. Thursday was just an in-between waiting day. And then today, Friday, I didn't have an appointment until 1 in the afternoon for my blood work. I actually showed up to the MGH area about 30 minutes early just so I could walk around the block a few times and enjoy the really nice weather that we've had here for the past 2 days. Yesterday it was up in the middle 60s, which I'm not sure what that is in Celsius off the top of my head, but it was very nice and it was sunny. And I went out for a walk for even just a couple hours. And I only came back because I forgot to actually take a bottle of water with me, so I was getting very thirsty. But then I headed back out a few hours later to catch the sunset, which was also really nice, and just walk around and enjoy the nice weather. Today was very much the same, although not as warm, but still sunny nonetheless, so it felt very nice. I showed up, got my blood work done, not a problem. Then I went in to see my doctor to get the results of my MRI, which I was quite excited to hear. Thankfully, everything looks good. No real changes. A few weeks ago, I had actually gone to unplug something under my desk, and I hit my head very lightly on the corner of the desk when I was pulling my head back out, and there was a tiny drop of blood inside of my tumor resection cavity that actually showed up on the MRI. And it wasn't one of those times where you hit your head where it hurts for days or weeks or whatever. It was just one of those hit my head, say, ah, and then get back to doing what I'm doing. But that tiny little bit did show up on my MRI, and I thought that was quite interesting because it was something I could barely even remember doing. I had to stop and think about when I had actually hit my head, but I knew it wasn't anything really bad, and that's what it was. It was for me unplugging something under my desk. The scan looks great. The other major change is that this was the final infusion for my trial. Technically, I've been on the maintenance therapy only one time a month, and this was session 45. So the team all sat down at some point and said that it would be fine for me to come off of this trial drug and go on essentially the wait and watch, which is good, but also a little bit anxiety inducing. I will still be getting an MRI in 2 months just to follow up and make sure everything is still stable. But the purpose of the immunotherapy is that your body learns what cells to attack. And there is one other person, he has been on the study for 53 weeks, and he was also at the end period for it. So he is also just finished or just finishing the exact same study that I was on. So there are at least 2 of us that have gone the entire trial period and the maintenance period, and there have been no recurrences or changes, and everything has been going great. Those are the type of results that I really like to see, and that's why I support clinical trials and thinking outside the box with your treatment. Speaking of clinical trials, at the end of April, I believe on April 28th, I'm going to be on the American Brain Tumor Association's webinar for clinical trials, and I will be the patient aspect along with 2 other doctors who are going to be speaking at this webinar. If you can't listen live, they will definitely post it on their YouTube page, usually a day or 2 afterwards, so I will definitely link to that video when it does go up, but that's not going to be until the end of April, and I will definitely keep you all updated as to how to register so that you can listen as well. That's the beauty of something like an audio or a video recording, is that you can watch or listen whenever you have the time. So I'm very excited about being able to give the patient perspective to the clinical trials. I feel honored that they would consider me for something like that. We're having a meeting in March in a couple weeks to make sure that everybody is on the same page and that we can all meet each other so that when the day of the webinar comes, we're all good to go. We all have the slides prepared. Everything can go smoothly. And they will be taking questions as well. So if you do tune in and you have a question, one of the doctors will be able to give you an answer. So it was a little bittersweet today at MGH. I've gotten to know my nurses and my doctors and the research coordinators so well that I'm used to going there at least once a month, and I've met so many amazing people just from being a patient there at MGH. I've met other patients and we've shared stories. It's just that there's something almost reassuring about going in on that once a month schedule. I will be having other follow-up appointments, of course, still getting my every 2 or 3 month scans for a little while. So I will still be seeing some of them, but I won't be having to go every single month. It's only once a month. I don't really mind it that much because I know that there are people in a lot worse situations out there right now. I should be the last person complaining about any of that. It's definitely been a week of ups and downs. We all know how horrible this disease can be and is. Not long after I got home, I got a text from a very good friend's mom telling me that she had passed peacefully at her home. And this is somebody that I consider a very, very good friend. We were originally matched up through the ABTA mentor program and quickly grew to become really good friends, not just the mentor and the mentee, but something where we were going through a lot of similar life situations at the same time, and having another person to be able to vent to and just talk with and just text with on a regular basis really was something that it's hard to put into words. It's definitely not been easy. I mean, this is only 4 or so hours after I got that message from her mom. And it's something that we all knew was coming, but she was at home. She was surrounded by her family. She was comfortable. And that's really the best that we can ask for. And she did not lose her battle with brain cancer. She was beating the odds with an inoperable tumor, and she had been on a clinical trial and Avastin and a couple other trial medications, which definitely improved her quality of life, along with giving her more years of being able to spend with her family and just still enjoy every day of life. I know I'm certainly not the best when it comes to situations like this, especially like you can't see me, but my hands are going all over the place. It's just one way that I express myself a lot. I'm a very movement-oriented person, so that's why sometimes it might sound like I'm bouncing all over the place on the mic, because I am moving my head when I try not to. But I'm not going for super clarity or super perfect sounds for the show right now. I'm just saying things as they come to me, and I'm not worried about much else. This is unfortunately one of the worst parts about having a family member or loved one with brain cancer, is sometimes the cancer just becomes too much. It's important that we never forget all of the great moments and conversations, and that will allow us to process what has happened and be able to somewhat cope. Not move on, but heal from the feeling of loss. This is something that I know was going to take me a little while to fully process and deal with, and that's why I definitely wanted to record this tonight. Like I do every single time I have a day at the hospital, I will record that evening. It might be a little bit later right now, and technically it's actually Saturday now, but I'm still determined to follow through with what I said. No matter how difficult it may be, or if I don't want to do it, I think just sitting down and talking to you all, it's something that really helps me as well. Combined with the fact that we have been in this pandemic for a year now, and a lot of our social lives have been impacted to where we can't really see a lot of other people like we normally would. All of the places that we would go have been closed or limited. And I know that we are, with the vaccine rollout, we're moving forward, but it's going to take longer just to be able to get ourselves mentally back to a good place. I've been through a lot this past year. I try to always stay positive and have a good attitude towards everything, but we still have to acknowledge how we feel. While I'm not super great right now, obviously, I am so appreciative of every single one of you for your support and for taking the time out of your day to listen to me. And the emails, you all keep me going, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Before I end up rambling for another 20 minutes, I think I'm going to wrap this one up and probably head to bed. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. I'm tired, yes. But I definitely want to also thank every single person that has helped me at MGH. You all know who you are. It's the hard work that you have all done, which has made it so that I'm still here 4.5 years out and refusing to give up and trying to better myself in any way that I can. Like I said in a previous episode, while obviously brain cancer is not optimal, I think in the long run it has made me a better person overall, and just at how I had to look at myself and look at the world. And there are a lot of good people out there. Make sure you let them know. If any of you ever need to talk with anybody, please just email me at braincancerpodcast@gmail.com. I'm so sorry that I'm like 5 days behind on emails. I just wasn't up to much of anything the past week. So I am a little bit behind, and I apologize for that. But if you need anything at all, just email me and we can go from there. I'm pretty much always available to talk if anybody needs anything. And I'm not very hard to find online. And if you need to talk with somebody, I have a phone. I've only ever had one phone number, so it's not very hard to find out what that is and contact me. But please, reach out if you need anything. And if you're on Facebook, you can like the page on Facebook at facebook.com/braincancerpodcast. Also on Twitter, you can give me a follow at braincancerpod. However you listen to the show, I'll say the YouTube thing and smash that subscribe and like and all that. But definitely subscribe on whatever Spotify or Apple or Google Podcasts, whatever you use to listen. That would be cool. But thank you all so much for listening. I'm sorry this was not the short, cheery update episode. But it's just how it is tonight, and it's just a part of the journey. I'm sure that things will get better. I know they will get better. And we're headed into spring. There will be lots of bright flowers and lots of pollen to make me sneeze. So I have a lot of things to look forward to, and going out with my camera. So I will still be here. I promise. Thank you all so much. I hope you all have a great day, night, weekend, if I get this out in time. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye.